I've always been big into like comedy shows. When I was a kid, I was watching like Peep Show and Alan Partridge, and I was way too young. That probably fucked me up in ways that could never be healed. So yeah, I've always been interested in it, and I wanted to do stand up when I was a kid, but I never thought I had the balls to do it. And then I got to college and started doing drugs, and that gave me the confidence.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dropout Comedy! Yeah. I don't know. My friend Andrew, he's adopted. I think that's way better. I think adoption is way better than pregnancy. Like, way better. Because, look, you can make a baby while drunk. You know? That happens to hundreds of people every day of the week. Happened to my dad. Might happen to some of you tonight. You know, who knows? You can make a baby while drunk. But you can't adopt a baby while drunk, you know? Nobody's ever woken up after a crazy house party and stumbled into the kitchen and been like, oh, bollocks, lads. Shit. Last night I was so drunk, I accidentally applied for adoption papers, then correctly filled out the adoption papers. Shit. Then went through the long and lengthy process of adopting a child, which includes doing many interviews. Then flew to China. Still fucked during this whole process. I was doing Jaeger bombs on the flight. Next thing you know, I got a Chinese baby. I am never drinking again. This is the 4th time this week this has happened. I can't keep doing this shit.
I think the best way to look at stand-up is like going to the gym. Like, it's not an artistic thing, it's like an athletic thing. If you just keep at it, you will get good. It might take years, it might take decades, it might take centuries. You will get good. And also, as I said before, do a lot of drugs.
The biggest thing that I noticed over here was the length of the sets to start with. In America, a lot of the sets that we would start with are like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And then over here, it's like 10 minutes right away.
There is definitely something unique about Irish comedy, and it might be changing now because we have a new generation who are more inspired by the American and the British comedians. But I think Irish comedy definitely comes from a place of the kind of pub storyteller.
Your jokes tend to be more story-based and a little more long-winded.
You know, some people say Irish people are the funniest people in the world. We're not Jews, but we are pretty funny.
Okay, I'm going to bring on your next act. She actually gave me my very first ever gig ever, okay? So if you hate me, it's her fault. Please give it up for Mrs. Kat Hanlon!
Hello. So, I don't know if you can tell I'm a woman. It's been working out so far, so I've decided to make it work. But I've noticed being a woman that when you have a temper, you often get lumped in as being a bitch. And I feel like a distinction needs to be made because it is a really different thing, being a bitch and a woman with a temper. It's kind of like comparing Cruella de Vil to She-Hulk. You know, one is a villain and one is a superhero. For example, She-Hulk will just lose her temper over something silly. Maybe she's trying to eat a bean burrito outside and her hair keeps blowing in her mouth, and that's when she decides to cut her hair out of anger because she keeps having this obstruction to eating her burrito. This is just a totally random scenario. But Cruella de Vil has like blueprints and fucking like people who work for her who draw them up and a fucking plan. Because bitches be premeditating. And I am not a bitch. There's no plan. I just wake up and I'm angry at everything. One of the things that's been really pissing me off a lot recently is there's this comic called XY, The Last Man. I don't know if you've heard of it. Don't say you have because I hate it. The thing I really hate about it is, so it's a story of this guy, all the men die in the world, right? There's some kind of virus, and he is the last man, and then there's like a monkey man as well, like his little monkey pet, a man, right? And I haven't read it. per se. But I do have some very strong opinions about it. Basically, like, XY, the last man, he gets to fuck all the bitches. You know, like, it's totally ridiculous because he's just like, if all the men died, like, women would be a little bit upset at first because, like, some of them were our dads, some of them are brothers, some were, in the beeb. But after a while, we'd get, like, organized, we'd make our lists, and we'd put, like, one man in a house, and we'd have, like, a wank quota. Like, if any ladies wanted to do the deed with this one dude, I mean, why would you? And then you'd put them in there, and we'd be organized, is what I'm trying to say. And that would all be fine. But if it was the other way, if it was XX, the last woman, the story would be like, she's just one woman. You guys have been great. My name's Catherine O'Hanlon. Thank you.
The hardest part is getting used to silence. The laugh or the boo, that's a response. But in your early shows, you're going to have just a lot of, like, dead air, and they won't even, like, acknowledge you. Just feel sorry for you. So you have to get used to that and get more comfortable in silence.
Well, it's the lack of gigs. I started in Buffalo, New York, where it's like a second city, kind of like Dundalk. So there's just not a lot of open mics.
The hardest part, starting out, sitting on stairwells, talking to other dickhead comedians. No, we'll cut that. That's not good for Aidan's career. I love that way of just taking up with directing as well. Just coming up with new material. Maybe not coming up with new material, just trying new material. You only get 7 minutes, 10 minutes. Right, you always want to be doing your goals.
Please give it up for Mr. Aidan Shields!
That's it. Give me those pity claps. I love it. That's good. Growing up, I kind of always knew I was going to be a performer of some sort, because my dad, he's kind of a famous method actor. He always learns his roles by doing and experience everything. I said to him a few months ago before he went to do a show, I said, "Hey, Dad, break a leg." So he threw me down the fucking stairs. But Ireland's great wee country, isn't it? Great wee country. I love it. Probably the only country in the world where you can drive up to the driving test center in your car, fail your test, and just drive on home. Fantastic. Country, we've got a gay Taoiseach. Yeah, any homophobes in the room? Represent Ross Common over there. That's good, man. I love that we got like a gay prime minister. I think it's so good, so progressive. I just think we could add that special touch of Leo Varadkar with just, maybe instead of just wearing the boring navy suit, he just came out in like a pink suit and a top hat. And when they talked about Brexit and they said, "Hey, Leo, what do you think about Brexit?" He'd be go, "Hard border, don't mind if I do." Let's really camp it up, 70s style. Man. Are you a weed smoking bunch? Do you look like a weed smoking bunch? Yeah, all right. I used to smoke the weed myself, used to smoke it, because I was inspired by the likes of Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg used to smoke weed. Fuck bitches! I used to smoke weed. Couldn't even talk to bitches. Yeah. But I did get a girl, ladies and gentlemen. Pregnant. My ex was holding the baby. I say she's my ex because, well, she had a baby. No, we're together. She's holding our baby, and she came out with this maternal gem of wisdom. Holding our baby, she said, "The most precious jewels any mother can have around her neck are the arms of her baby." I just thought, that's a little bit fucked up. I think the baby's arms were doing just fine attached to the baby, Seeing that all young mothers do, she changed her Facebook profile picture to a picture of the baby. It's lovely, right? It's lovely. It's not. Because when people come looking for me on Facebook, it just looks like Aiden Shields is in a relationship with a baby. It's not cool. I'm going to finish on this. I was doing my business the other day. I had my jeans at my ankles. I had my khakis at my ankles. And I looked to my right. I was like, no toilet paper. You know that awkward moment when there's no toilet paper? You got your khakis at your ankles and you got to do that awkward waddle to go get some. And then when you get to the shop, terribly embarrassing. Guys, I've been Aiden Shields. Thank you.
I'd like to leave Ireland. I'd love to go over to London for a while, go over to New York or Toronto or, just get on the road. But that damn child.
I'll tell you a bit about myself. I'm from a farm in Carlow. Any farmers in the audience? Shite. Hate farming. I have a dream of moving to Dublin and doing the sophisticated, fancy things that Dublin people do. Like sophisticated things, like drinking espresso, or get fingered in a rickshaw. I'm a real dum-dum, so I don't have any stuff about Trump. Like my friend recently said that Donald Trump has changed the definition of American president, which is kind of true in a way, because back in the 40s, if a kid went up to his parents, he was like, "Mom, Dad, when I grow up, I want to be the president of the United States of America." His parents looked at him with pride, and they'd be like, "Oh, good work, Timmy. Yeah, go play with some rocks." But these days, in 2018, if a kid went up to his parents, he was like, "Mom, Dad, when I grow up, I want to be the president of the United States of America." His parents would look at him like, "Ew." You think Haiti's a shithole? Do you hate Mexicans too, you Timmy? Where did we go wrong with little Timmy? Looks like Timmy needs a visit from the Pillow Fairy. It's called being a responsible parent.
I've always enjoyed comedy and making people laugh, but more than that, people tell me I have a very hilarious-looking face, which isn't necessarily a compliment, but I figure I might as well use what I got, Plus, I give it a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah, the sex appeal, you know what it is.
Now, I am going to bring on your next comedian. He is the co-founder of Dropout Comedy. He's I'm the brains, he's the sex appeal. He is the Wozniak to my jobs. Please give a big round of applause to Mr. James Callan.
Hello. So for anyone who doesn't know, my name is James. I grew up in Monaghan. I went to school there. I had a bit of a tough time in school, to be honest. I had a hard time fitting in. Remember there was this one guy, right? He used to bully me every day. He hated me for being gay, even though I'm not actually gay. You think him being a primary school teacher, he would have known better, but that's dedication to homophobia, to be honest. I don't understand homophobia as an ideology. To hate somebody because they're gay is very strange to me. Do you think homophobes get angry every time they see a rainbow? Maybe do they think it's like the bat symbol for gay people? Fucking queers or asses again. So, growing up in Monaghan, didn't have a lot going on in Monaghan. Anybody know that show Friends? It's just got added to Netflix, and people are giving out saying it's offensive, saying it's homophobic and transphobic and all this shit. But they've actually overlooked what I think is the most offensive thing about the show Friends, which is that despite the fact that they all live in New York City, they never acknowledged 9/11. Do you know what I mean? You know what? Well, they were there when it happened. They should have. They think they could have done an episode where Chandler was looking out the window saying, "Oh man, could that plane be any closer to that building? Oh, it can. Oh dear God. Oh, that is." I just think it would have been nice. Friends, the 9/11 episode. I'll be there for you when the planes start to fall. It would have been nice. So, the dating game's changed quite a lot. Anybody do online dating? Anyone here do online dating? No, me neither. Yeah. I don't do offline dating as well, but that's a whole other thing. Anyone here ever sent a dick pic? No, me neither. I don't have the balls. I don't just use the internet to stalk my exes. I watch a lot of pornography online. We all do it. Let's just be honest with ourselves. I think I'm doing it too much. So you know you're lonely when you go back to watching softcore porn just for the intimacy. Do you know what I mean? Oh, look, they're holding hands, kissing and making eye contact. Oh, why can't I have that? By which I mean the intimacy, not the 12-inch uncircumcised cock, but might come in handy too. I woke up. This is what happened. I woke up this morning. I've had a very strange day. I woke up. I went in the bathroom. And this has never happened to me before. Maybe this happened to you. I don't know. Probably not. You're all very young. But I woke up, went in the bathroom, and for the first time, I actually found a grey pubic hair. Yeah, I know. Scary. What was really bad, though, is I actually found it in my mouth. Yeah, so my grandfather owes me an explanation. I'm joking. He's dead, so he's dead. At least I hope so, otherwise the cremation was a huge mistake, do you know what I mean? I remember I told that joke once and a woman came up to me after the show, she was very angry, she's like, I think you should apologise, that's really offensive. I'm like, what's offensive about it? It's like, you're talking about putting your dead grandfather's balls in your mouth, that's really horrible. And I thought about it for a minute, and it's like, I'm not going to apologise, and here's why, because if you think about it, the only way you could really be offended by that joke is if you're a necrophiliac. So if any of you are necrophiliacs and you're offended by that joke, you can drop dead and then go fuck yourselves. Because at least you'd enjoy it. Right, folks, that's it for me. Good luck.
I don't know, you just have to get up there and do it. It's pretty daunting. Like, I didn't do my first gig till I was 25. I started really late, but if you want to do it, just do it. Like, go for it. It's going to be hard, but you'll get there. Or you won't, and you'll fail, and it'll all go wrong, and your dreams are over, and you die alone. But, you know, you won't know until you try. So, give it a go.
I decided I'd do comedy first because I was at a loose end, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. And I was told that I needed to improve in my public speaking, and as you can see, I nailed it.
When you get up there and your jokes are shit and nobody laughs, it's kind of like taking out your dick and people saying, oh, that's a bit small. I know it is. I know it's small, but I'm still here, giving it a go.
And with that, please give it up for Mr. Stephen Ryan!
It's great to be here in Dundalk, the Drogheda of the North. Tell you a few things about myself. I'm from Limerick. Yeah, a few years ago they tried to rebrand Limerick City as Fab City after there was a spate of fabbings in the city. I myself was a victim of fabbing. They got me where it hurts, right in my dress sense. I suffer terribly from arachnophobia. It's not so much that I'm afraid of spiders. I just don't want to see them allowed to be married and be happy. Blowjobs. Whoever thought a blowjob was an appropriate name for fellatio was doing it wrong. I imagine that if you had a mouthful of penis and you were going to blow, it would make a farty noise and destroy any sense of intimacy in the room. I'm getting too old for blowjobs. But I am getting older. I recently turned 30. When I say I turned 30, I don't mean 30 lesbians changed their sexual proclivity because of my allure. No, I wouldn't do it to them. They're already a marginalised group in society. I have too great a sense of civic responsibility. Now, what I mean when I say I turned 30 is the far more obvious sense of the phrase, that I turned 30 years of age. And it was it wasn't so much difficult, more or less happened overnight. I guess because I had the groundwork put in. But it was difficult in some respects turning 30. Like I threw myself a surprise birthday party. It's amazing what you can achieve with a little short-term memory loss. Threw myself a surprise birthday party. Some of the things people said to me on my birthday, like my friend Roger, we call him that because it's his name. Roger, I play soccer with Roger. God, you should see this fella. He's just like Lionel Messi. Never pays his taxes. And Roger said to me, you're only as old as the woman you feel, which is blatantly untrue. Because if that were true, the BBC in the 1970s would have been like a creche. And Kevin Spacey would be virtually immortal. Allegedly. But it was difficult for me to turn 30 because, like, I remember a long time ago. I remember back when I was a teenager, back when the world was my oyster. And as we all know, oysters are an aphrodisiac, which explains all the spontaneous erections I got at that time. The great tragedy of puberty for me was that as soon as nature gave me an organic book stand that would allow me to read my book in bed, it also took away my inclination to read a book in bed. But it was difficult for me to turn 30. I think it was difficult because I entered into a midlife crisis. Now I realise 30 is a bit young to enter into a midlife crisis, but I realise old age isn't for me. I'm too like James Dean. Only instead of fast cars, I've got cholesterol. Cholesterol gets a bad rap. It's not all about dying young, leaving undonatable organs. Every staircase for me is like a trip to Tato Park. So I decided I'd take up running. I'd never been into running. I knew I'd be brilliant at it, of course. My doctor always tells me I have the foot of an athlete. So I decided I was going to take up running. Now I didn't know how to approach it, so I asked my friend Roger. It's also his nickname. But he suggested that I take up running a 10K. Now I didn't know how to pace myself, so I asked him. He said, just find a good-looking girl. She might be wearing yoga pants. Let her set the pace. What Roger didn't know is I like big girls. I like a girl who can make you seasick. 3 hours it took her to finish the race. Now I realise my comedy is a lot like Marmite, in that it's delicious. So you should have all enjoyed that. Folks, I've been Stephen Ryan, and in many respects, I still am.
A year from now, I'm hoping to do Edinburgh in August.
Just kind of doing regular gigs in Dublin, the better comedy clubs in Dublin.
Still waiting to hear back about venues and things, so hopefully after that.
There's a lot of good ones that I send them a message, they don't even reply.
I'd like to start touring my own show and just make that move from doing comedy clubs to doing shows, essentially.
That's where I want to be a year from now, just getting replies to messages from people. That'd be nice. Just a bit of fucking decency.
I'd like to get away from the Irish circuit, actually, for a while, you know. This incestuous pit of fucking... No, it's great, it's lovely.
Just doing more stand-up. I've gotten into a bad habit recently of not doing very much.
No, just it doesn't serve anyone well to be in the same habitat for too long. You know, it's like living with your mum for too long.
A year from now, I hope to be becoming a regular in some of the bigger clubs in Dublin. I want to be travelling more, do London, Amsterdam, some spots in America. I'd also like to direct a series of porno films for Gigi Carter.